wait, I'm not ready. I still need to add the other tiers.
There's so
There's
many.
but we need to add like the makes the story worse. We need that one. We always need that one.
Makes the story worse is really funny. It's funny that you made the tier list anyway. Why do you need to make more?
Because there's a limit to how much you can like preset.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that. I guess
Uh,
I've only ever made one public tier list. It was right when Persona 3 was coming out. I wanted to rank the characters. Persona 3 Reload came out. I wanted to rank the confidants to like track how many I had completed, and I had and there wasn't a tier list yet, so I made my own.
so there's a little less this time that we have, but I thought we'd make up for that by like maybe making this one like the final one where we finally get to all the comments. Although even then, that might be
Oh yeah.
worth its own video. Honestly, there's a
We'll
lot because
see.
the
We'll see what
video took
happens. We'll see
off.
what happens. We'll see
Yeah,
what
we'll see what
happens.
happens. Okay, so before we begin, just a little PSA. When I was in my YouTube studio earlier today, I clicked OK on something that said like we're changing how ads work or something. So I don't know what exactly it was because I never
Uh-oh.
bothered to read those things.
Oh,
So
you know what you may have accidentally.
if you see mid roll ads, tell me and I'll turn them off because I don't
That
want
might
mid
be
roll
what
ads on
happened,
this.
Puff, because that happened to I think Jenny Nicholson. Is you can accidentally opt into a program where YouTube decides how many ads you have.
Yeah, okay, so again, if you see mid roll ads, you shouldn't be seeing them. This content's not worth mid roll
Nice. I'm
ads.
only saying that because I remember she's like, "Hey guys, one of my super long videos has like 37 ads," and I don't remember doing that.
uh,
Okay,
all right, now we're gonna start with. Oh wait, there should be one paired with this first one. All right, so we're gonna start with something we actually talked about last time. Skypians, Birkins, and Shandians are from the moon. This is very very likely.
no, 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 you actually can't say that because the two possibilities are either A, they started on the moon, or B, they went from Earth to moon to Earth, and both are possible.
Yeah, both are possible. Like we know that they had like a civilization on the moon, so like it's possible it started there. Like the odds are
the
pretty good.
the main argument that it's possible they weren't is in the Skypea mural. We see a skyfish, implying either A, they were somehow reaching skyfish from the moon, or B, they had at one point gone to the white sea and seen skyfish.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So like,
possible that like they like started on the moon, came down, saw the skyfish, and it's like, yo, this is a tale of our
yeah,
journeys
no,
there.
there's a lot of possibilities. Just to
Yeah.
clarify, it is possible they went Earth, Moon, Earth. I like we can't deny that.
Yeah, I
It
know.
seems less likely just because it's like needless complexity, but like it's still possible.
Yeah. Now here's one that kind of throws a weird wrench to it is that like Lunarians weren't on the mural that Enel was looking at. So like I think the reason for it is because like Oda didn't think about Lunarians yet. He didn't like,
But we need a
decide he was
lore
gonna.
reason. That's
Yeah,
cheating.
we do need a lore reason now, and the reason could be maybe they weren't friendly with the other sky people back in the
Yeah, the
day or
obvious
whatever.
answer is just they were like you could make the joke they're from the dark side of the moon or something. But the point is just they were from a different sect of the moon than the Skypeans and the Birkins and the Shan. I think back then they were all Birkins because the first Sky Island is called Burka.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
so
if they did start on Earth, maybe they started on Earth and then all the races besides the Lunarians went to the
yeah,
moon, which
I
would be
think,
weird because the Lunarians are named after the moon. So like it would be
or
very weird if they
well, I
weren't
mean, well,
from the
they're named
moon.
after the moon by Oda. In universe, we don't know where their name came from. Um, so that's one where we just have to point out that Lunarians are like ever so slightly less likely than the other three, just because it's kind of weird.
Well, I feel like it kind of balances out because like they weren't on the mural, so maybe not. But they're named after the moon, so it's
Yeah.
like,
Or like a other funny one, Puff. If we do the whole everyone went to the moon except the Lunarians, the everyone's like, man, our islands suck, and Lunarians are like, haha, God's kingdom, haha, fuck you, and they're like, man, those guys suck.
fuck
We
those
gotta find a
guys,
better place to live than that.
fuck those guys.
We're going to even higher up.
Oh boy, this is a fun one. I mean, we had a lot of people who vehemently argued for this one.
No shot, because it
No
doesn't make any
shot.
fucking
All
sense.
right, we gotta say it out loud for the people that are looking at the video screen. Kaido forced Yamato to live as a man. This is just like there's absolutely no evidence for this whatsoever, and it contradicts everything Yamato has said about like
And everything Kaido has said.
yeah, like it's weird. Like the scene that I know the one guy when they were arguing for it, they pointed to like the one scene where Kaido said you are the son of an Oni. It's like okay, they acknowledge that Yamato is their son. Is that your
So
only piece of evidence that Kaido acknowledges that Yamato wants to identify as a man? and that
Okay,
therefore he must have
I guess
voiced it onto
Kaido
him.
isn't uh bigoted. Good
But
for
like
him.
the thing is, in the same scene, you're like, why are you acting like a guardian deity of Wano? So like clearly he's like, knock it off with the Odin shit, but also you're my son and I love my trans son.
Or like when Yamato's little, or like maybe when they're a teen, and he's like, if you want to be Odin, you're gonna need to try harder than that, you little shit. As in, like, very clearly, Yamato, very, very, very early on, is like, I'ma be Odin. And Kaido, instead of even saying don't, Kaido just says, well, you better be strong then. Um, Whereas like the idea that Kaido forced Yamato to be a man is just like it would make sense if you knew nothing about them. Because it's like, oh, well, it almost makes sense. It's like, oh, Wano is sexist, no likey to woman, so Kaido needs Yamato to be a man so that he can become shogun. But it's like, guys, Kaido is an illegal invader who is breaking their laws 24/7. If they say a woman can't be shogun,
What
they
the
would
fuck are they gonna
actually say,
do? Say no
first
to
of all,
Kaido?
actually, what's funny, Puff, is in order. It's like, first of all, women probably can't be shogun. On top of that, outsiders probably can't be shogun, and he can't fix that unless you want to say that's what the devil fruit did. But then on top of that, they would then say someone who is not only loyal to Kaido, but is Kaido's faithful child cannot be shogun. Like, you can't politics your way into the people of Wano liking Kaido.
That's the thing. Like if this was like if we were in a separate timeline and the story was written differently, where Kaido, like, instead of just being like a brute who was like, I'm gonna, like, take over this country by force, instead, like, finagle, like, I'm going to sneak my son into court by disguising them as a man and they will, like, earn the way up the ranks. It's like, okay, that could be a fun plot line in a separate dimension. This has nothing to do with the main story though.
In this story, Kaido's just like, Dad, I'm a man, and also I'm gonna be Odin. And he's like, all right, I guess. Good for you. Like, he doesn't seem to care beyond the fact that, like, he kind of doesn't like Odin. But beyond that, he's like, all right, I guess. Do what you want. Not sure if it's derived from like bad scans or something, because a weirdly large amount of people believe it, even though there's literally no evidence. Also, before anyone tries to be like, hey, Yamato's a woman, why do you keep calling him he? Behold the panel. Behold the panel.
This is the panel. This is the one we always point to.
Anyway, moving on.
For those not looking at the video screen, because I know you people will comment if I don't
Oh yeah,
say
yeah,
this.
we did get those.
I am
while fighting
Yamato, son of
Green Bull.
Kaido. I am
Yeah,
Yamato, son of Kaido.
while fighting Green Bull. End of Wano. Character development is pretty much done for Wano. Fighting Green Bull says, I am Yamato, so not Odin, Yamato, the son, man of Kaido, reaffirming that he's saying he's Yamato, not Odin, because he didn't say, I'm Odin, the son of fucking Sukiyaki, or whatever his name is. He said, I'm Yamato, son of Kaido. That is very clearly about Yamato being Yamato, not Odin.
Yeah, okay, like if you don't believe in trans people, like, you win the argument. I can't convince you. Fine.
Well, you
Yamato,
don't win the
whatever.
argument because you're a dumbass.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I won't even try. But it just like
it's more
this,
like you dumbass.
But if you
your way
think,
out of
but
the
if you
argument.
think, but if you think Kaido forced Yamato to live as a man, then like you're just like coping. I think.
Yeah, you are. You are. Also, Puff, click away. The bottom box is still highlighted. Thank you. No, that box is highlighted. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Crosses are a symbol of Nika worship.
Okay. So people say this because Kuma had a cross in the church on the place they grew up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's if that's true, it's either that's not the only use of it, or it's been forgotten to time. And the reason for that is Moria and Mihawk, who neither of which seem to know anything about Nika, but inexplicably love crosses. And even if you want to be like, hey, I have plenty of theories that fucking Mihawk knows about Nika. Okay. Does Moria? Because he has like 11 times more crosses than Mihawk does.
Or like Bellamy. Bellamy has a cross on like the back of his jacket. Is he also a worshiper of Nika?
Or like, the funny thing is, like, I won't even bring up Whitebeard because it was supposed to be a manji and he had to change it. So we can ignore that. There's actually like a valid reason that one might be weird. But for the rest, maybe. But from the looks of it, the Nika symbol, as a lot of people kind of point out, seems to be the sun with the circles around it.
Yeah. And like another possibility, like with the Kuma thing, it's like Did Kuma isn't the one who built that church? So like, was that like originally intended for Nika worship? That's questionable because if it was, why would a world government affiliated island not have like crushed that thing and grounded it to
That
dust
would be
already?
weird. Oh,
So like, it's
and on top,
questionable. It's questionable.
no, that's part of the anti-Nika thing. Are you telling me that fuck Kuma, two other warlords were not secretly but publicly, blatantly pro-Nika worshippers, and the government was like, "Yeah, you can be warlord."
Yeah, well, why not? Why
Like,
not?
it's just like, yeah, who gives a shit? That
Dude,
doesn't make any sense.
they just really wanted Moria on their team. They were willing to put up with his Nika worship.
Yeah, they needed him. They needed him. He's too important.
Also, this is
Uh,
the point you brought up in like a bad ones where it's like when Kuma goes to Thriller Bark, was he like, "Hey, Moria, you want to talk about Nika? You want to
Holy
talk
shit,
about
dude!
our
You
mutual
like
worship of Nika? I've seen all your
Maury,
crosses, yo."
I always thought it was weird you were as tall as me. I didn't realize you were an albino buccaneer. And the Maury would be like, what the fuck are you talking
I,
about?
and also like I think this is also something you said once. Like, if this is true, how come Luffy has never had any cross imagery at any point in the story, like even
Yeah, no,
once?
the only straw hat that you could argue ever had it was a Zoro in his
Yeah.
intro. And even then he wasn't shaped like a cross because his feet were spread, so it was more like an X, like a
Yeah,
weird
no,
X.
it wasn't actually like a crucifixion. It was just he was just tied to a post and like his arms were spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense on like so many levels, especially because there seems to be a more canonical, consistent Nika symbol, and you should probably just use that one.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, why was Kuma carrying a Bible? Who say that's the Nika Bible? Maybe Kuma, in his free time, reads about other religions. You don't know what he does
I
in
mean,
his free
I'm willing
time.
to believe that it's the Nika Bible, and like if the world government's gonna put with anyone's Nika worship, it probably would be Kuma because they know he's a
No, I'm saying that
Buccaneer
because
and all that.
I think his Bible had a cross on it, which is why I'm making the joke. But like, really, the obvious answer is Oda had not thought of Nika yet.
That's another well, I mean, like it is like well, it's part of the story now, so we have to think of a lore reason why his Bible has a
And
cross.
that is my lore reason. Is this not the Nika Bible? It's just another one. He's just no. He knows that Moria like has a lot of crosses. He's like, oh, I should learn the religion of my fellow warlords. If I learn about theirs, maybe they'll learn about mine.
Blackbeard has multiple personalities.
I
I'm not
can't.
sure if this
I'll
is.
say
I think it's
I'll
like
say odds are not 0%, but I do hate it.
Yeah, because I think it's like the way people describe it, where it's just like, oh, this explains why Blackbeard, like, in one scene he'll be so cool, and then in the next he'll be cowardly, and it's like because he's a cocky ass, and when he loses the upper hand, he starts panicking, which is
Yeah,
a
like
pretty normal response.
because let me think of the so the three that they says he has are what? The smart one, the cunning one, the smart one, the gutsy one, and the cowardly one. Those are the three,
I
right?
think so. Yeah.
But like though there's very clearly crossover there. Like Blackbeard, while being gutsy, can talk about how smart his plans are. Proof that there's crossover. And also just like his personality isn't inconsistent. He's not any more inconsistent than Usopp.
Yeah. Again, it's the same thing. People are cocky when they have the upper hand, and then when they lose it, they start panicking. Like that's a pretty
Yeah, like
normal response that
like
you can find
Teach
in a
is
lot of
so
characters.
consistent where it's like he walks into Impel Down because he's like, haha, there's a raid, there's a panic, I got this. And then he sees Magellan and he's like, who's this smuck? I got this. And he's like, oh no, that's a one-hit KO attack. Oh fuck. Or like with
Also,
Blackbeard, he's like, let's 1v1, dad. And he's like, I'm winning. I got this. I got this. And he's like, oh shit, I
guys, watch me
forgot.
1v1 Whitebeard.
And then he's like, ha, I've taken away your devil fruit. He's like, oh, wait, you're still like 18 feet tall. Oh, shit. Ah, guys, help me. Help me, 8v1 Whitebeard.
Jump him, jump him.
And then, like, people are like, oh, he runs scared from Sakazuki or CP0. It's like, that's because Teach isn't a fucking dumbass. Teach is not going to risk mortally injuring himself or any of his crewmates over a fight that he doesn't need to take. He wanted a marine ship. He's not gonna potentially lose his whole crew and his arm for a marine ship.
Yeah, no,
He's gonna be like,
remember,
bye, Sakazuki.
like
Not dealing with that.
even if he thinks he can beat Sakazuki in a fight, remember when he was like challenged when Ace challenged him? He said, "You guys aren't ready to fight Ace yet. Leave this to me." Do you think a Kainu would be like? Do you think they're ready for a Kainu now when they weren't ready for
Just
Ace?
because, like, for all we know, when he said you're not ready for Ace, he meant you don't have hockey, which is actually true because Augur and Burgess didn't have hockey when they attacked Ace,
Yeah.
meaning his crew at least like half of them don't even have hockey, and you want him to fight Sakazuki? That's so stupid.
Like
Or
maybe
like
the
same with
Impel Down like escapees would have been more helpful than like Blackbeard's base crew, but like still like he didn't
no,
want.
no,
I
I
imagine.
imagine they had hockey, but that's
Yeah.
still like guys. Did you see them fight Garp after 2 years? Um, and then on top of that, just like the other one people bring up is Rayleigh. And it's like, guys, he literally has his hands full. Not figuratively, literally, he is
Literally.
holding someone in his hands.
Guys, if he lets go of Boa, then Boa can turn him into stone like a second later. Like he literally has to fight Rayleigh with one hand and possibly Kobe too.
Also, the Seraphim are still there.
Oh right, yeah, the Seraphim's still running around the island blowing shit up. Like that's not a great
It's
situation to
such
be in.
like, guys, you should be praising that he got as far as he did before Rayleigh showed up. Like
Uh,
it's so stupid. Everything he does makes sense. Like
yeah.
his characterization is super consistent.
Like I wouldn't say makes the story worse inherently. It's just that the way people describe it
No,
is
it
like
could theoretically happen, but like I don't see much proof of it.
yeah. Also, I don't think it's a satisfying answer to how he can eat multiple devil fruits because like again, like Marco pointed out, there's something weird about his body. Multiple personalities wouldn't play a role in that whatsoever.
Unless he's like Diavolo, where when he changes bodies, he literally like shifts his
Oh
physical
no, dude,
form.
he's a tri-brain tri. Every time he switches personalities, a different brain gets plugged into his
Yes. No, literally, unless he's like Diavolo, where his body morphs, and you could argue technically that's a new body. No.
Okay, this is like literally a last chapter theory.
Even
Shanks
though
let
people have had it ever since we saw
Yeah,
Summers.
but it's escalating now that we've seen the mark
Yeah.
on his arm. Shanks let the Sea King eat his arm in order to remove the mark of the abyss. I think there's a
So
better version of this.
yes, because guys, here's the thing. I get that it's cool to imagine, oh, Shanks needed the tattoo removed, but here's the question. Can Shanks not do that himself? Can Ben Beckman not do that? Can he not go ask Rayleigh or Scopper to do it?
Yeah, like even if we assume that like like we can't assume that's protected by some strong magic or whatever the hell because the Sea King bit it off, so it can't be that like
The Lord of the
protected.
Coast, who is
Yeah,
weaker than Luffy. Unless you
yeah.
want to believe the thing that he got really weak over the 14 years.
He got
uh,
old.
he's old now. It's an old fish. So no, and that really is just the crux of this theory. Is it's like, why was it the Sea King? Like people post funny ideas, like maybe like the Sea King eating it somehow blocks the mark of the abyss, which is like, well, we'd need any reason to believe that. Like we don't have any proof of that. Like
Yeah.
if Luffy turns into a giant and eats eats Summers' head, is Summers dead now?
Yeah, like it's weird. Fuck, what was I about to
And like
say?
even if it's like I don't know, maybe the sea blocks it. Okay, he and Beckman can swim. Shanks can go into the water and be like, "All right, Ben, cut off my arm," because he cut off Kid's arm. Clearly, Ben likes cutting off guys' arm.
Yeah, okay, the only way I can imagine like this like making sense like he had to do it in this instance is if like Emu can like watch him through the mark and like for some like like Emu thought that Shanks was working for him, but like Shanks was planning to betray him and so he needed to find like a natural way to lose his arm that wouldn't raise suspicion so that he could be free of the abyss so he can then turn coat and catch Emu and the Gorosei by surprise somehow. Like that's the only way I feel like this makes
But then
sense.
that raises a bunch of its own questions because, like, what was Shanks doing right before he lost his arm? Um, he was a pirate with a base in the East Blue, so he couldn't have been doing any good recon. And what was the
And he
thing he
stole
literally
the
just
Nika
did?
fruit.
The
He
Nika
literally
fruit
stole.
from
So like
CC9.
so like that makes no sense because like then he would have already betrayed Emu and the Gorosei at that point. So it's like that doesn't
Yes,
make any
that doesn't
sense
make any
now.
sense. And then on top of that, just minor thing is people acts like it would make the Luffy seem better. I think it makes it worse because now Shanks is not giving his arm to protect Luffy. He's protecting Luffy and being like, "Ooh, lucky me, two birds, one stone."
Like I
Like,
feel like you still kind of get the scene like you can still like have that extra bit of symbolism even if the mark didn't like have any literal magic in it left like it just
no,
like represented like
I
his
think
tie to
no,
like
but that's only if Shanks didn't do it on purpose.
yeah, you know, like I'm saying, he didn't do it on purpose, but like the mark just happened to be on his left arm that happened to like be lost when he protected Luffy.
Yeah,
Like
I think that could be cool.
that's
I think
perfectly
that might be
fine.
what like a cool symbol of Shanks putting his absolute faith in the next generation and completely leaving behind, like, I don't know, I guess his family ties. I guess that could be cool. He's rejecting the symbol that maybe his father gave him to protect the kid that views him as a dad. That could be cute.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
again,
mean.
like the whole thing is like guys are always like plot hole, plot hole. Sure, it's a plot hole, but also like the in-universe explanation is like, oh look, Sanji, who is very strong, gets hurt by bullets when he's focusing on protecting Luffy. So I guess Shanks, even though he's pretty strong, gets hurt by a Sea King when he's protecting Luffy.
All right,
Like
like
that,
guys,
like
let's just remember this was like still like what was it, like 6 years or 8 years before Shanks became an Emperor of the Sea. Maybe he's just not that guy yet. Maybe he's just an okay,
I mean,
strongish kind
to
of
be
guy.
fair, that could be aged poorly in like 5 chapters.
Oh yeah, no, obviously, like yeah. I mean, he is in the New World on Elbaf. He like,
No,
but
but
like
the thing is,
still,
I don't even need an explanation.
it's still possible to be like a high tier with low durability.
I don't even need an explanation. I'll just willingly accept that Shanks was so focused on protecting Luffy, he didn't even consider what was going on with his arm. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little wonky, but like I don't care. Because also, that's not even the only plot hole in that scene. Because Luffy also struggles for air, which is not how Devil Fruit users work.
Yeah, I know. In almost every other scene afterwards, they just instantly like start sinking.
Yeah.
All right, Saint Jupiter is a traitor.
This is more just theory, and like I think okay, his sandworm evidence is fucking stupid, but otherwise, I think he makes a case for why if it's anyone, it is him.
Yeah, I remember
But
like
he
he's I
didn't
think the
convince me that there is one.
yeah, I think like the main like reasons was because like seems to be the youngest of the group and he's the one who kind of acts shocked like most often in their conversations.
And
So like
he was
maybe he's the
talking like he was talking the least on Egghead, which is like, yeah, that's a little weird that he's talking the least. Like it's not compelling, but it's something.
yeah. I mean like it is like if any of them's going to do it, I guess he'd be a decent choice, but like
Yeah.
it could just as easily be any of the others, I feel.
And also just it doesn't need to be any.
Yeah, that's
Because
that's also another
the
possibility.
other problem is like literally in his video, Morge said it doesn't make thematic sense unless a girl say betrays Eam in Egghead. So Morge's original theory literally was wrong.
Yeah, no, like obviously it is. Yeah, honestly,
Well, I mean, obviously,
this I just
thinking
wanted to
one of the
put
girls
here.
that was going to betray Eam and Egghead is fucking stupid.
Yeah, I'll link the bad moments where we talked about it in depth. Like that old theory
Oh,
is like bad.
guys,
It
if
just
you want to
technically,
see Morge make an actual clown of himself, listen to the sandworm section because every time I did more research on that, it got more embarrassing.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but otherwise, it's like I don't think any of the girls say need to portray Eam, so I don't and I don't really have reason to believe they will. Like people bring up stupid things like, well, Dofi had four commanders and one betrayed him. It's like, first of all, that's not true. Dofi, the amount of commanders Dofi had fluctuated. But also, why does it need to be the same to be a parallel? That's fucking stupid.
yeah,
Luffy doesn't have the same amount of crewmates as Roger, but Luffy is a Roger parallel.
that is true. No, no, dude, remember he's gonna get 31 crewmen by the end of the manga. Obviously, don't you
Maybe.
remember? All right, Luffy is Joy Boy's reincarnation.
Maybe.
Maybe. The thing is, like, the problem with this one is that, like, the term reincarnation has, like, never been brought up once in the whole manga. Outside, I think, like, maybe, like,
Rook.
the gag with Perona, where, like, they say, oh, when I die, I want to be reincarnated as a clam because I'm so worthless and stupid.
Yeah.
And, like, other than that, like, is reincarnation the literal rules the setting is going by? We don't know. There's not really any evidence for it.
Yeah, because the only soul who would have done any afterlifing was Brooks, and it chose to not do that part. So we literally don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just like he could be, but also like he doesn't need to be because he can just inherit his will. He could be the second coming of Joy Boy, just like Roger also seemed to almost be the second coming of Joy Boy,
Yeah.
or Ace seemed to also almost be the second coming of Joy Boy.
And I
Like
know
it doesn't need to happen,
yeah, I
but
know
like
a
it
lot.
could.
I know a large reason some people say this is literally because Naruto, and but like Naruto was like heavily steeped in like far more heavily steeped in like Buddhism and Buddhist imagery than like One Piece ever was. So like it's a lot less surprising when it turns out reincarnation is what they go by than as opposed to One Piece, which like kind of like takes inspiration all over the place.
One Piece didn't even confirm souls were a thing until Thriller Bark.
That is true.
So yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess another also weird thing with that is like people think the Shandians were Nika worshippers, and Shandians think their ancestors become trees. That's food for thought.
Yeah, that is actually like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, dude,
That's all. It's just food
you
for
get
thought.
reincarnated as a tree. Then when the tree gets cut down, you reincarnate as another human again. That's how
That
it
doesn't
works.
make sense because they were really mad when the trees got cut down.
Because living as a tree is way cooler than living as a human, obviously.
Dragon, cool, but why?
Yeah,
Say
this
it out
is
loud,
yeah, this
because I
is
didn't read it.
dragon is an ancient weapon. Cool, but why? This is a real old one. I think it's just because like we saw
Just because
dragon has some
we've
weather
always
related powers, and so maybe that
and
was an
we've
ancient weapon.
and we've always figured that Uranus might be weather related, just because we figured, oh, Pluton is like the earthy one, even though it's a ship. Poseidon is the sea one, so maybe Uranus will be like the sky one.
Yeah, so maybe like the sky controls the weather or something like that. Like, sure, but why?
Yeah, like there's no like actual evidence of it, because again, like Dragon doesn't have any like feats of him actually fucking shit up. Because again, even all the storms, we don't know what those are.
Like, technically speaking, it might still just be a cosmic coincidence that a storm happened to hit, but like in all likelihood, it was dragon or something to do with his
Yeah,
powers,
no, because you
obviously.
could point out that what about the because yeah, but that's the other cope explanation is okay, well, the wind when Luffy was there, Nami felt the storm coming. That's just a coincidence. Why did Luffy strike Buggy? Why did lightning strike Buggy? Because he was sticking a metal sword in the air during a thunderstorm like a dipshit.
Yeah.
And then why was there a wind blast on Baltigo? Kuma was there. He did it with the pawpaw fruit. That's a funny cope answer.
Wait, on Baltico, don't you mean in Gray Terminal?
Yeah, no, Matt,
Yeah,
great
Gray
terminal, my
Terminal.
bad.
Minks are from the moon. I think it's
That was
another cool,
Anime
but
Balls Deep.
why?
Yeah, where it's like Anime Balls Deep said that, and like it raises questions. It's like, okay, if minks are from the moon, does that mean if they look down, they like enter Sulong form and have a heart attack in 3 minutes?
The thing is, I remember like imagining werewolves on the moon is very fun and cool because like, oh, dude, they're always like originally they were always meant to be in wolf form, like
Real,
hulking out, but then
real
they got
puff, you know what's
nerfed
even
and got
cooler?
cringe when they
Real
went to
puff, you know what's
Earth.
even cooler? It's
What?
like Superman. They can't use their full power unless they're on Earth because on the moon they're so close they can't see the full thing.
Hmm.
They're like Superman.
Well, I mean,
They
like
need to be away
well, I
from
mean,
their
in
planet
most
for
versions
the
of
puff.
Superman, I think it's like being in the middle of a sun would like supercharge him, but also like kind of
No,
like.
no, I'm just making the joke of like he's stronger when he's far away from his home planet. I'm just making that joke. I'm not being specific. But yeah, there's no evidence of it.
Yeah.
I guess you could point out the animal looking people in an else cover story, but they're also clearly robotic.
Yeah. We don't know what those guys' deals is yet.
Yeah, we don't know what any of that is.
Yeah. Moria and Hannibal are Oni.
I think that's either a maybe or an unlike. I think a maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a maybe because like if they like the thing is we don't even know if Oni is like really a race onto itself really just yet because like
By Oni we mean ain't like I assume we mean ain't. Oh, we mean what Kaido is, right?
yeah, we mean what Kaido is like Kaido like
Which is weird for a few reasons.
like the thing is like we're not sure if Onis are like an own official race or if that's just what they called Kaido specifically for being a scary strong guy with horns, and like Kaido does say that Yamato is the son of an Oni, so
Yeah, like
like
it's the
maybe that
spawn
may
of an Oni, so
yeah,
that's
so like
it's of
that's like that's the line that really made people think that like, oh, is this confirmed? This is a new race confirmed. But also we've seen people with horns like Moria and Hannibal in the past, and like no one brought it up as something like weird, or even like Mary
no.
from like East Blue from
No, I
Secret
think
Village.
Mary's was confirmed to be his hair.
Oh, cool.
So he's no, I think that's also a thing in One Piece Puff is the subcategory of humans whose hair grows into animals. That's a thing. I'd like if
Dude.
that means they got like 1% mink blood or something. Their repressed animal traits
So again,
showing.
it's just a question of like how much of this is just like Oda doing his goofy like cartoonish designs, and how much is like him actually like making a new race of horned people, even though he already made horned people
Especially
that don't
because
seem
there's
to be related to
complications
Kaido.
where Buccaneers are maybe it's kind of unclear a type of human giant crossbreed. Clearly not whatever the fuck Colin is, so I guess it would be female human male giant. Maybe that's what Buccaneers come from. And people think Oni are descendant of ancient giants, which are just a type of giant. It's like Lunarian Skypian, meaning that
Mi-
doesn't that mean Kaido is technically like a buccaneer? In which case they're not extinct.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I wonder if like Buccaneers, it's more like they're like a quarter giant or something. Because like again, like he's so
or
different from
or like
Colin.
or giant's blood is just a fancy way to say they're big boys.
Yeah.
Like it's there's a lot unclear there, and some of it might never get it. Like if we never learn what Kaido is, that means humans in One Piece can just grow horns. Something we've assumed for a very very long time.
Yeah. Also, like, I remember the reading that like he is just a human who was labeled as a monster, kind of like is cool for his character because he want to like turn like other members of his crew into animals and like crush their dreams, lower them like beneath humans, almost stuff like that. That's kind of it could fit into his character kind of well. Ooh, oh man,
Your theory.
yeah, I know this one is the no one love. I don't know if I'd put it, I would kill this or to like actually rank how likely, because I think it is like pretty likely actually.
Then have fun. Actually, rank it as a real theory.
All right, I'm gonna rank it as very likely because like
No, it's not. Lower that.
what do you mean?
Puff, very likely. No, I will like Puff. I would not put it higher than maybe, but solely to be nice to you, I won't fight you with possible.
Okay, like literally, like Brooks' promise to Laboon is when I come back, we'll sail and have adventures together. And when Luffy and Co find out that dude, that skeleton guy is the made a promise with Laboon, the whale we met all the way back. Let's have adventures with them both. Like they literally say, let's get them together again and like like go on adventures with them. So like
Yeah, that could be like a cool way to maybe like not even participate in the final war. Like that could happen. Like as like the final chapter.
yeah, and but the thing is, like, they promise to adventure again, and also Laboon has the Straw Hat insignia painted on his face, like a giant Straw Hat flag literally on his face. So him being a member of the Straw Hats isn't that weird.
Also, the thing that I always bring up, Puff, is Return to Sabaody established that a lot of advanced pirate crews tie their ships to giant sea animals.
Yeah,
So that'd be cute and fun.
that would be
Um,
cute and fun.
Also, it'd just be funny if Laboon, because guys, I don't know if you remember this. Laboon is the first person. Luffy versus Laboon is hilarious because Luffy fought him, got his shit rocked for a minute, and said, "I guess it's a tie."
He wanted to go for a few more minutes before like giving his speech, but then he's like, "Oh fuck, this thing's strong. I should probably stop now."
He's like it's not. He's like, all right, I'm only getting scratched from the rocks because it's blunt force, but like I'm not doing anything.
Lucky Roo has a time stop devil fruit.
Now this is baked in misinformation and weirdness. So yeah, put it in cool, but why?
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk now. Okay, so first of all, the statement that Lucky Roo is the fastest pirate, I can't. I've never found the source for that.
Yeah, neither have I. I think it might.
I
If I just expect, it might be from those like those pictures of that someone's head canon was on that some people took as canon. Like
It might be
Zoro
one
like
of those,
defeats
yeah.
bounty hunters in the crew when no one's looking and stuff like that.
Or like Usopp is as strong as pre time skip Zoro.
Yeah, that's the most famous one from that batch.
All just lies.
Yeah.
Whereas like what I would say is fuck whatever. Fuck. Um, it was my brain. No, the other thing is it may have been mixed up with when Oda said Speed Jiru is the fastest Whitebeard commander, which was said.
Yeah, that was
Dope
said
man, Speed
somewhere.
Jiru faster than Marco. Um, so like there's that, and then on top of that, people people have spread a lot of lies. Like people have said it's in the Film Red data book things. First of all, those things are quasi canon at best. Um,
And B,
like
if it
that's
was
where
if it was in Film
observation
Red, gee, Lucky Roo, why didn't you do that in Film Red when you were fighting Tot
Well,
Musica? Having
that's actually clarified because they said that all of the Shanks attacks we see in Film Red were made up by the animators to not spoil
yeah,
anything.
I know, but like if again, like if the like this doesn't make sense either way, because like if they made up the power for him, then that means it's confirmed to not be canon. But
No,
because he
that's not what I'm
didn't
talking
even
about,
use
Puff.
it,
No, I
then it
mean
shouldn't
the
even be in
film.
the data book if it wasn't even in the
No,
movie.
I mean the Film Red promo book where Shanks was confirmed to have observation hockey killing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm talking about. Like, if it wasn't even in the movie, then why would it even
But that
be?
also wasn't in the movie, was it?
Well, I guess not. But like, if the but like Lucky Roo having a time stop thing is just so random and out there. Like,
Yeah, no, no, I no, it's just another thing it's steeped in is people acting like the way Shanks gets around doesn't make sense. The funniest one is Marineford. Where it's like, how did he get there? It's like, what do you mean? We heard Kaido was going to Marineford, and then we heard Shanks intercepted him. So it's like, oh, Shanks and Kaido are both near Marineford. So when Shanks shows up, it should be like, oh yeah, he was nearby. Fucking duh.
or like maybe he just has a really good ship, or both.
Or like, yeah, sure, fuck it. He's using the abyss.
Oh,
Like,
the abyss.
if you need a an explanation for why Shanks gets around, which I feel like we don't need, that is the easiest answer.
Yeah. I think like it's like the part of it might just be literally because like the jump cut of him shooting the guy, where it's like, oh, we don't see him appear until like he's already
But
shot him
that's
pretty
just
much.
so cool.
Yeah, but like again, like he wasn't even in frame. It's not like we see in frame Shanks and the bandit, and then he pops in the next panel. He's off screen. We don't see what's on the other side of the bandit until his head gets popped.
It'd
So
be
it could
funny if
just
Lucky
as
Roo had been
easily
standing
be that
there
Lucky
the
Roo
whole
just
time.
walked up and did it.
Yeah. Yeah, so just not a lot of makes sense for it.
Yeah. The Kozuki RDs.
This is possible.
Yeah, this was like popularized when Odin died and he was smiling, which like D's
And
dying
then
when
it
they
was popular.
smile.
Oh yeah, you can bring up that weird theory that
Yeah,
I don't really
the
like.
D's dying like when they smile has never really like been confirmed anywhere. I don't think, and like even then, like it's
No, it
like Cobra,
hasn't.
Cobra was a D, and like he does.
No,
I don't think we don't. He wasn't like smiling when he died
the
already.
last, like, that could be like, like that could be changed. Like we see his final moments, and he might be smiling. But from what we saw as he was getting killed, he was not smiling. Also, like Luffy doesn't smile every time he's dying. Like famously, when his heart stopped before he awakened, he was not smiling. He looked like he wanted to rip Kaido in half.
Yeah.
So like, and like people say Teach is a fake D because that, which like whatever. I think what really gave this credence was learning that the Nefertari are a secret D, and it's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah, yeah.
well,
Like
who's the
oh
most famous Joy Boy aligned clan? The Kozuki. Like that. That's it.
yeah. So like it wouldn't be surprising if they were also revealed to be D's and that they were hiding
Yeah,
the name for some reason. Like
yeah.
they'd have less reason to hide it than the Nefertaris because the
Because they're
Nefertaris was
isolationists,
yeah. They
but
one
like
was in an isolated country while the other was like allied with the real government, so it makes sense they'd want to hide it from them.
especially because like the other thing that we have to bring up is like being a D is not prosecuted against. People always persecuted against. People always act like it is. It's not. Monkey D Garp and Jaguar D Saul were Marines.
Yeah,
So
and
was Monkey D Dragon.
like so far it seems like the way you describe it seems like he's pretty unconcerned with what the D are up to nowadays when he says like, oh, they're just remnants who don't even know what their name means. And like he seemed like pretty bothered by it when he learned the Nefertari were D's, but I feel like that's kind of seems like because he realized, oh, Lily betrayed me and she was always a traitor, or something like that, like something to do
That's
with
more
his
so
past.
Like yeah, his problems with Lily than it is the D clan in general. It seems like yeah, he doesn't care. He's like, oh, you're descendants from some jackasses. You'll drown in 50 years. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. The Navy were originally Yakuza. This was a comet, and this is like a fun idea, I think. From what
I
we've
think it's unlikely.
yeah, it's just I think like it's the crux of it is that like because all the animals are based off Japanese actors, so they all look very Japanese, and they all have those suits, and like even like a Kainu seems to have like all these tattoos on him that like kind of look like Yakuza. Like I think like the signature is like you having a tattoo on your back, which like I'm not sure if we saw Sakazuki's back or not.
Based on the pattern of his tattoo, it seems like it covers a bit of his front, his arm, and a bit of his back.
Yeah, so like that's a possibility, I guess.
Mainly, it's cool and it's not impossible.
Yeah, I think it's cool because like again going back to the Doflamingo speech everyone loves to quote where like oh well like who fought for justice like pirates or marines changes with the time, so like maybe way back in the day there was a group of criminals, the Yakuza, who would also like fight for justice even though they were considered criminals for a time until they were taken under the
Or
wing
like
of the
it
real
could be
government.
the trope you see in a lot of Yakuza fiction where it's like these are the good reformed Yakuza.
Yeah, these are the punks that beat up punks.
These are the nice boys.
Yeah.
It could be that. Like, it's like I don't think it has much credence, but it's cute.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty cool. I Rayleigh picked Luffy because of his lineage. I remember we got a few comments about this one, and I think this makes the story worse and also makes no sense.
it's what? Wouldn't Rayleigh pick Luffy because Shanks picked Luffy?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, based on like the story and the text that we read, the reason why Rayleigh picked him was like, oh, like he like said like the thing Roger said. That's what Shanks told him. And then when he asked him, "Do you think you can rule the seas?" and then Luffy says, "I don't want to rule anything." And then seems to be the moment where it clicked. Like, oh, this kid's got it. This kid's got it. So clearly, it
Yeah,
was
like
Luffy's personality that won him over more than anything.
his lineage is also funny because like unless you mean he has the will of D, because like otherwise it's like okay, he's the grandson of Garp, that asshole who I guess was kind of friendly with my captain, and then Dragon, who I'm Rayleigh, and why would I know who Dragon is?
You know what would be super funny?
What?
He heard like, oh, this is the Garb's grandson. Then he remembered, Roger was gonna have a son, and I know because he told me that like he was gonna have Garp rescue him, and like so like Garp
It'd be
must have raised this
so
kid.
funny.
So maybe this is actually Roger's kid, and because
That'd be
again, like
hilarious.
Ace's execution didn't happen yet, so they didn't publicly announce that Ace was Roger's son. So it'd be funny if it's like, is this Roger's son going under Garp's name because Garp raised him?
Even though that's definitely not true, because Roger's probably like, "Hey Rayleigh, I'm gonna name my son Ace." And Rayleigh's like, "Oh look, there's an upstart who looks identical to young Roger named Ace. I wonder who that could be."
Yeah, and also again, like clearly Luffy's personality is what won him over. And like when he was talking with Shanks, Shanks never said, "Oh yeah, this could be Roger's son." He was like, "No, this is some kid named Luffy that I
No,
met
no,
in
no.
East
Wait,
Blue
no, Puff.
who's
I
a
just hit it.
goober."
We're completely misinterpreting this.
Ooh, what's that?
He did pick Luffy because of his lineage. Remember? Rayleigh Luffy's uncle.
Right? Yeah, Bucky did say that in that one filler scene.
Anyway,
I think when I was watching One Piece for the first time as a kid, I kind of thought that it was being serious, and I was like, I was supposed to interpret that literally, like, oh my god, is Rayleigh Dragon's brother or something? Holy shit! Frankie
that's
turns the
funny.
Sunny into a
I'd kill
mecha.
for that.
I would kill for this. Oh my god, it would be so. This is the ultimate power up for Frankie. There's nothing you can think of that would be better than this.
And that's why I want him to fight Wolf, because then he can make the mech as big as he wants.
Dude, I want it to be like literally like Gurren Lagann, where you have Frankie inside of like the Frankie General, and the Frankie General is inside of the Sunny.
And then the Sunny is inside of his Frankie version of Pluton. And instead of the giant drills, Puff, instead of the giant drills shoulders, it's two giant cola bottles inserted into the soldiers, and you see them slowly draining as the fight goes on. Ah, that'd be so fucking awesome.
That would be so great. There's like I remember people talking about like, oh, when's he gonna unlock Armor Hulk? It's like, no, give him more cool robot shit. That's the fun
No,
power
because
up for
quite
Frankie.
literally, like the best things you can do for mechas are either make them more detailed or make them fucking big as shit.
Yeah.
And because as I've learned, Puff, because like Puff, one of the most common things you always see on commission sheets is won't do mechas because they're so fucking hard to draw. So
They
if I had to
are.
guess, if Oda had to pick between detail and size, he'd go for size.
Yeah. Okay, Robin got Frankie hooked on CBT.
What?
This was another comment. This is just. Oh wait, no, we need to make a new tier for this called meme. So you know what
Oh yeah,
CBT is?
what?
Do you know what CBT is?
It's a type of like talking to people thing, right?
Oh, Shiki, you'll understand when you're older.
Am I thinking of the wrong thing? Am I thinking of the wrong thing?
Yes, you think. This stands for cock and ball torture.
Oh, I knew that. I knew that. I knew that. Oh no. Here's the problem. Because of what I do in college, I was thinking of cognitive behavior therapy because I go to college. And that's one of the things we study. Okay, that's funny.
Robin
No, I
got
knew that.
Frankie
I
hooked
knew
on
that.
cognitive behavior therapy.
Okay, no, that's why I was confused. I should have known that. All right. Anyway, my answer to this is it's a meme, but does it make sense? I'm actually going to say no for one reason, Puff.
Why is that?
To my knowledge, there are no soundproof rooms on the Sunny. And as we saw, Frankie fucking screams when that happens.
No. Every Thursday night on the Sunny, they just hear a loud
They just don't
yo.
question it.
No one questions it. So Frankie's doing his thing again every Thursday.
That's funny.
Must have been drinking a special bottle of cola or something. And also, man, I'm just saying, if that happened to me, I probably would get hooked on CBT too if
That's
it was
funny.
Robin. Sora was a Marine before marrying Judge. This is a fun one that I'm not sure will ever be expanded upon ever. Cause like we might never go back
I
to
would
the
say the
Germa.
odds aren't zero, but like there's
Yeah.
not.
If we ever expand on like the Germa's backstory and all, I think this is very likely, but I don't not sure if we'll ever do that.
Because we don't really need to. We kind of learn. Like, unless Mads becomes relevant again, we don't need to learn much else about the Germa.
Yeah, so basically, like the reason like why this would be pretty likely is because in the Germa comic strip, the Germa 66, the villains fight the hero Sora, who is a Marine hero. Like I think they describe him as the Marine hero Sora. So like, and Sora, you know, like Sanji's mom, you know, that's her name. So like, was this character based off of her? And like her past as a Marine, maybe she had like a love-hate relationship with Judge, enemies to lovers. That'd be very funny. Okay. Rayleigh can use Dark King mode.
That's a meme.
That is a meme. Do you know what Dark
Oh,
King
by
mode is?
meme, we mean I know like 1% of power scalers believe it, but I'm not giving those people the light of day.
Dude, what do you mean? Like, I can't. Aren't you waiting for the scene where he goes, "You're pretty strong, Kizaru, but can you beat me when I go Dark King mode?" And then he goes full body armor hockey like Virgo, except more, and there's a big dark aura around him, and he gets glowing
Yeah.
red eyes, and he's like, "Behold my Dark King mode."
It's funny.
Blackbeard is a fake D. Uh,
I don't think so.
yeah, I think this is. I'm not. I think it's more
I'd say
likely than these ones, but
like there's reasons. Like what's funny is the whole. Like what's funny is the reason people give of the D smile and death has aged kind of poorly because it seems like Cobra was not smiling in death unless that's retconned. And again, there are times where Luffy was about to die where he was not smiling. There was a lot of them actually. I'd say most times he's about to die, he's not smiling.
yeah.
Whereas the actual evidence is Whitebeard saying you're not the person, Roger, whatever the fuck. What did he say?
Roger was waiting for.
Yes. Which in retrospect seems more Joy Boy related, but maybe I don't know. Like I guess that's part of the whole thing of like maybe if you believe the theory that the new Joy Boy has to be a member of the D clan.
Like,
But
even
then also
then,
it's like
like thinking about from Whitebeard's perspective, where like one of his sons is like, "I don't care who your parents are." Like, would he like truly buy into this idea that you have to be from a certain bloodline in order to be the man Roger is waiting
probably
for?
not. Because
Like,
he's not a
even if that's completely true, that seems to be a bit out of character for Whitebeard specifically to say that.
especially as one of his last words.
Yeah, so like I imagine when he says like you're not the man Rogers waiting for, it's because oh you're a scumbag, you stab your comrades in the back, you're kind of a scumbo. I don't think
Just
you're the guy.
general, you're a piece of shit. You're not
Yeah,
gonna
you're
get
a
the
piece
One
of
Piece.
yeah, you're a piece of shit. Roger was a piece of shit, but he was better than you.
Roger's not a piece of shit. Roger was a piece of shit, but not by pirate standards. You're a piece of shit by pirate standards.
Kid will join Blackbeard. This makes no sense to me.
um, like I can't say no shot because maybe he's like strong armed into it, so odds are not zero.
Like
But
the
I think
only
it's
way I can imagine it is if like he like tries to like not like Kid doesn't join him, but like he like let's do an alliance temporarily so that I can beat the shit out of someone, and you know you beat the shit out of the other guy trying to get in my
I
way.
feel like that's like anti-character development for Kid. Because like a
Yeah.
big part of his development in Wano was like Kid made a haphazard alliance with people he hated and it bit him in the ass. But then when he made an alliance with people who have actually shown strong conviction and people who he has no reason to think are gonna betray him, it works. It's a pretty it's a pretty clear like part of Kid's overall character arc. If Kid needs to learn to stop being so hostile towards everyone because you do need allies in the world.
Yeah, like again, like Pooh and Hawkins gave up before they could even lose, but like Luffy and Law both got their asses kicked in Wano, and they still want to fight Kaido. So it seems like, all right, yeah, there's some people that are better to ally with than others. Even though he
Yeah.
did it begrudgingly and like never like really truly accepted it, or at least didn't say that out loud.
Now, a theory I am fully willing to buy into is that Apu joins Blackbeard.
Oh no, that is super likely. That is actually
So
really
Apu is
likely.
either joining Blackbeard or Cross Guild.
Yeah,
Because what the fuck else would he be doing?
He's gonna jump ship to someone who's bigger and cooler than him, and it's
Because
probably not
that's
gonna be
just
Luffy.
Apu's way of life.
Yeah.
It kind of just doesn't go with kids' development.
Yeah. Every
Also, guys, Kid is not dead. Don't comment they forgot Kid's dead. Kid is not dead. Shut up.
In the first bad movie stream, we put Kid is dead as makes the story worse, just because like that seems like a waste of a character, and like not like couldn't think of a proper way to conclude him, so you just like killed him for the sake of giving Shanks like a kill count, I guess. Which like
his character arc is clearly not over yet.
Yeah. Every Straw Hat gets a hockey training arc from Scopper / Red-Haired Pirates.
I think that's boring.
This is really boring, but like I can't say it's like.
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah, like it's not. It's a little better than these ones because like it's easy to imagine it, but like it is a really boring like power up for half the Straw Hats to just be like, oh yeah, here's basic arm hockey, Chopper, go to town.
Like I think it's kind of cool if Luffy's crew, when he becomes Pirate King, doesn't have hockey across the board. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Or like if they get it, maybe it's not through a training arc. Maybe it's like spoilers for last chapter again. Scopper just revealed that Zoro doesn't even know he's been using Conqueror's hockey. So for all we know, some Straw Hats are able to subconsciously activate hockey, and all they need is like a quick like, hey, did you know you're doing this? And then like maybe that could be more than enough.
Like honestly, if I were to think of a way where they like, if I tried the story where every Straw gets hockey, I think in the final war, like like I'd give them like a super cool power up that suits their character, like behold, my new Rumble Ball, which turns me into the Ice Oni Plague Monster Point Chopper, and he becomes a giant
Puff, I
abominable
love that
snowman.
theory so much because then he turned into a Yeti.
Yeah. Oh man, we should have put that on
here.
there. We should have put that on here.
We forgot about it, but we've talked about it before, and it's a really fun
Anyway,
theory.
pretend that Ice Oni Plague Chopper is in I Would Kill for this. But anyway, I'd give him
because
that.
Imagine how cool it would be if he repurposed Queen's drugs to turn into a Yeti. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, okay, I'd give him that, and then like in the heat of battle, like his hockey would bloom, and then like he'd do an extra strong hockey-infused punch, and then, that's it. Like just give it to them. Just have them unlock it in the middle of battle. Like I don't see the reason to have a training arc to give them basic hockey, because
and also like
so
someone like Frankie would rather get sea stone gloves than learn hockey because Frankie wants to make the best inventions possible.
Yeah, so like him getting hockey doesn't really do anything for him. Like there's so much cooler things you could do with Frankie than just giving him arm and hockey.
And like like it would buff Robin, Brook, Chopper, but like I feel like there's more fun ways to buff them. Like maybe Robin, because like there's not much else she can like I feel like do at this point outside of Awakening.
All right, the two
like
shots that I want to get hockey, or like a hockey training arc, I guess, would be Usopp, because like again, like clearly that seems to be like a good trajectory for him. Yeah, he has it already. So like him having like learning cooler forms of observation would be cool and all that. And then B is Brook, because I just want full arm and hockey Brook skeleton, because it would look cool. I think it would look pretty neat.
It would look pretty neat. So just it feel like I'd rather the Straw Hats get more like personal power ups that tie into their character than just like a broad training arc and all they get is just hockey. Like if they get hockey, I want it to be something like unless they get special hockey, like Usopp's was a big moment because it was fucking sniper range hockey. I want it, if they get hockey, I want it to be like kind of like just a quick okay then, unless it's unique, because a big moment when it's like, oh, I've done it! I have basic armament! That's so fucking lame.
I know. I'm just imagining, it's like, alright, Nami, to prepare you for the final war against the world government, where you're going to be running around, like there's going to be admirals everywhere, CP0 is going to be on your tail, the Gods Knights have super powerful, been juiced up by Emu's dark magic. Okay, you know what's going to get you through this? Basic observation hockey, and you're gonna dodge. Like, it gives you an extra 20% avoid rate on attacks.
It's so funny. Also, Puff, another funny thing I just thought of with Straw Hats not knowing hockey, it makes the Brook was a God's Knight theory even funnier, because, like, you could say Brook got nerfed when he lost all his muscles, but are you telling me dying made Brook forget how to use hockey? Because, like, he tried to cut Kizaru and it didn't work, meaning he doesn't have it. And, like they kind of have the out of, like, oh, when he died and he lost all his muscles, he got nerfed. But, like, you don't... That's not how hockey works. It's tied to your willpower. So, like, you feel like that'd be the one thing he keeps.
Yeah. It's fun to imagine that, like, he just, like, was a God's Knight, but, like I'm just imagining half of all God's Knights can't fight for shit and they're just carried by immortality, so maybe that was Brook, and when he lost the immortality, he's like, oh wait, fuck, I'm not immortal anymore, poison kills me now. uh, Zoan fruits can go attached to certain locations, i.e. Pell, Chaka, Herald, and Yamato's devil fruits.
I think that's really cute, even though there's, like, not much proof. Also, we don't even know if King Harold's fruit was a fucking zone.
That is true. So I guess, like, I did kind of jump the gun when I put
Ignore
that
Harold.
there.
But I think it's a cute idea. Like, we don't need it because, like, the other explanation that we've had before we learned that zones kind of have, like, wills even when they're in fruit form is just that, well, it's probably going to reincarnate on the island where they die, so, like, it's going to stay there.
Well, like, the thing is, like, I'm not sure if that, like, really applies, because, like, again, like, the flame fruit didn't, like, reappear on Marineford, did it? Like, or maybe it
I
did,
mean,
like,
we
we
don't
don't
know
know.
where it reappeared. Doflamingo got it, so it could have been Marineford, actually.
Yeah, I guess so,
He
but, like...
respawns in the marine kitchen, and Dofi's like, "Give me out."
I just think, like, because, like, you know, these are the only examples that we have of Delph fruits, like,
I wouldn't
continuously
even put it
being passed
impossible, Puff.
down.
It seems like something that might literally never get touched on ever. I put it in
That
maybe.
is true. I just think that because, like, I think because, like, the Nika fruit is an ancient zone, and because, like, it having its own will seems
Mythical.
to be something fairly important with how it avoided the government, then, like, you know, maybe, like, that specific aspect will be, like, expanded upon, and so maybe, like, Delphoots can choose where they reincarnate, and, like, that's what they mean by zones have a will of their own.
Maybe. Or also just like the other interpretation, which is also fun, is just zones Delph reincarnate roughly near where they die. So, say Alabasta, the hawk and dog fruit keep jackal fruit keep reincarnating there consistently, and it was consistently eaten by strong warriors, and thus that's where the myth came from. That's also possible and also fun and cool.
Yeah, I think it could be cool for the story because, like, the story's already kind of used devil fruits as, like, a shorthand for inherited will, like, and with, like, Sabo and Ace and, like, Big
Yeah.
Mom and Mother Carmel.
I think
So,
that
like,
I
if it
think the
is,
inherited
so if
will
we
thing works
learn,
either way
yeah, I know,
with
but
with
so if
either
we
fruit.
learn that, like, devil fruits can be, like, influenced by, like, or at least zone fruits can be influenced by past use, like, maybe there was some guy I was like, I really love Alabasta, I want to protect it, and he had the falcon fruit. Maybe that, like, influenced the falcon fruit to be like, damn, I should, like, keep reincarnating here and keep this place safe or something. Like,
Well,
maybe that
mainly
can work
also
into
the
the...
thing here is more so this kind of explains maybe how the Nika fruit was able to juke the government. Is maybe it would intentionally reappear on an island that like wasn't government occupied.
Yeah. Maybe I should put there was a better version of this, and then just, like, instead of this, I just choose, like, Zoan Food to choose where they reincarnate or something.
I mean, that might just be devil fruits for all we know.
Yeah,
But sure.
maybe.
Even then, like I don't even know. Like this just like a maybe either way, but
Yeah,
sure.
this kind of is just like a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Shamrock wanted to talk about a certain pirate, and somewhere
So
here
this
we
is
should
just was
ask.
it Shanks or Shamrock?
Yeah, was it Shanks or Shamrock?
And
That's the
here's what I
question.
want to bring up with Shamrock because it'd be hysterical. Shamrock puts on his hood, bugs the shit out of the Gorosei into getting a meeting with him. He comes in, they're immediately already annoyed with him because they didn't want to have a meeting because they're annoyed with him. They're hostile. And then he shows up and he very mysteriously says, I want to talk about a certain pirate. And then it cuts away. Because what did it cut away from? It cut away from them all going, why you being vague, bitch? We know you mean your brother. You're so fucking annoying.
No, dude, maybe he wasn't talking about his brother. Maybe he was talking about Monkey D. Luffy or
No,
Marshall D.
but that's the
Teach.
joke I made. They're like, I want to talk about a certain pirate. And they're like, what, your brother? You mean your brother? You're talking about your brother. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I meant, I meant his adoptive brother, Buggy. Yup, I meant him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also, like, I think this is one of the lines the Gorsei said. It's like, we only agreed to this meeting because it's you. I think that kind of implies that, like, it was Shanks, a pirate who normally wouldn't be allowed anywhere near Mary Joa. But because it was Shanks and because he had a history with the Celestial Dragons, they're like, okay, we'll talk to you because you have Celestial Dragon blood, and you're a pretty strong, important guy.
So basically, we're gonna put Shamrock in what unlikely, and then Shanks in possible.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Because it's just
Basically,
like again,
that's our
like
gap.
because if the Gorse said we only agreed to this meeting because it's you to a God's Knight, does that imply that Shamrock is the most important God's Knight, even though at that point he wasn't the
He's not
captain
because
yet?
at that time his dad was.
Yeah, so like if they were gonna make an exception for anyone, it would probably be the captain, not Shamrock.
I mean, they could just say because it's you, and they mean you're the son of the leader of the God's Knights, and are also a high-ranking God's Knight
Yeah,
yourself.
that's possible too.
I'm not like both are possible. Like obviously,
Like it's still a coin toss, but I think one side is painted and the other's not.
yeah. And like the whole thing of like we didn't see their scar, so we still don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, the one thing leaning towards Shamrock's side that I will say is Shamrock has a when we met Shamrock, he had his face hidden with a black cloak cape, which is very clearly calling back to the certain pirate scene.
That is true, yeah.
That actually, I think you should put it on maybe just because of that, because that's suspicious as fuck.
Okay.
I still think. Also, I think I'm leaning towards Shanks just because that's more interesting. Honestly,
Dude. When he said certain pirate, he was talking about Loki.
and I'm also just leaning. Yeah, he meant he wants to go recruit Loki. Honestly, that's not even a terrible theory.
Yeah, it actually seems pretty likely now that I'm thinking about it. Wow.
Actually,
now,
that's a good
now
theory.
I
That's a
don't.
good theory.
Now I think they both go impossible.
Yeah, sure. Just put them equally likely. It's a perfect coin toss.
Oh, how things change.
Amazing.
Brook is Aokiji's father.
We put this here for one simple reason, which is unlike all other stupid family theories that don't make any sense. This one has one thing going for it, which is people will be like, "Dragon looks like Kalgra," and it's like not really. Or like Dragon looks like Rocks. It's like not really. But then when you hear young Brook looks like young Kuzan, you're like, what do you mean? And then you see them and you're like, holy shit, it's the same person.
Dude, they both have afros and ice powers. Oh my god. Or
No,
I
more
guess
specifically,
Aokiji
just
doesn't have
them.
an afro, but he has like poofy hair.
I just more specifically mean as little kids, they look borderline identical, and it's kind of scary.
They do. They do.
Like I mean, obviously the answer is just Oda only has so many designs. But yeah, it's a meme at this point. Oda only has so many designs, but it is insane how fucking similar they look.
Yeah, it's funny.
Also, isn't it also impossible because isn't Kuzan younger than 50?
Brook can have a son younger. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
impossible. Oh, he.
No, it's still a meme. Leave it in
No,
meme.
we put there's a better version. He is the grandfather or uncle.
Of course, now we don't have to admit it's a
Yeah.
meme. Aha,
Yeah,
we're so smart.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
I think timeline-wise, that would still be really weird.
It's so.
Bible Piece. Puff, I'm so
Oh,
glad you added this
dude.
because O'Hara threw Bible Piece out the fucking
Oh, dude,
window.
I felt
recently.
so validated when he said, "Yo, let's go Norse Piece." And it's like you literally just turned your back on like the last 30 videos you made on this topic. When you so closely tied it to the Bible, because that's not
Bible
the talking
Piece,
point anymore.
Bible pieces. Just watch our reaction to O'Hara's Bible Piece video to summarize just the idea that the One Piece story doesn't just draw from the Bible the way it clearly draws from all religions. Like, how does it draw from the Bible? Noah, Adam, Eve. Wow. How does it draw from Shintoism? Zoro's attacks and forms are based on the reincarnation cycle, the samsara cycle. Just stuff like that, or just like
do the Aztecs play a role? They kind of influence the Shandings a bit and stuff like that. How do
Enel is a Raijin. That's his design. He's based on a Raijin. And then in Elbaf, every single monster is named after a Norse monster.
Yeah.
But the theory is instead of that, where it's kind of everything, it's like, no. It is specifically hyper-Christian. Luffy is Lucifer and or Jesus Christ at the same time.
And I love that, like, he would literally just, like, put both those readings back to back, even though they're, like, incompatible. Just to say, like, oh, look at all the points I'm making. Isn't this convincing? If you don't like this one interpretation, there's this other one you can like. And just like...
Which is also funny, because the Lucifer one was so much better than the Jesus one.
It was.
So basically, guys, Luffy, like, also, like, so I think the best example of Ohara kind of showing his ass is when he talks about how devil fruits are based on the immortality fruit that Fafnir guards, where he says, "Now you may be thinking of the Adam and Eve tree, partially because I said that's what it was for like several
10,000
months."
times.
But then he just admits, "Oh, there's a Norse one too." And as you and I brought up, Puff, there's also one in the Wukong story. Because, guys, a lot of religions have stories about how you're not supposed to steal nice fruit because rich people don't want you stealing their fucking fruit.
It's unfortunate, but it is true.
um, yeah. So
Also,
just
again, like if we're like really gonna tie Luffy to like one specific god, and we gotta do that, then it is like 99% sure that it's gonna be Wukong, because like
or
Wukong,
Hanuman,
yeah, I'd say
monkey
Wukong. I
stalker,
think I
one of
think
the two monkeys.
yeah. I again, like Luffy's like like in the vein of Son Goku's, or in the vein of Son Wukong. It's a pretty direct
Goku is
lineage
the
actually with Son
Japanese
Wukong
name of
to
Sun
Battle
Wukong.
Shonen MCs. There's a pretty direct lineage there.
No, like Goku isn't like a name Toriyama came up with. Goku is the Japanese translation for Sun Wukong.
Yeah.
That's why the big ape in Naruto is also called Goku.
Yeah.
Um, so just like if yeah, I agree that the creatures Luffy has the most DNA of are either Hanuman or Wukong, like easily. Like there's no contest.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by Bible piece. We're not denying that One Piece references the Bible because we're not fucking stupid.
Yeah, it pulls from its like names and iconography from the Bible sometimes. Like I think like probably the strongest example is probably Egghead, where like you have like the apple with you have Lilith. You like all the big points are named after people who were like punished by gods. Like Lilith, Atlas, Shaka was like named after one of the Buddha's lives.
Which
Yeah.
is very clear. Which honestly, I think Egghead is a perfect encapsulation of how
Yeah,
Oda
it pulled
uses.
a bunch of different like religions in that arc.
No,
And
no. Egghead is a perfect showing of how Oda uses religions, which is he uses all of them because mythology's cool.
it's super cool. And also
Like
like
it's
again
that basic.
like kind of the premise of One Piece with like an adventure story where like every island's radically different than the last. It makes sense you'd want to pull from more than one religion to communicate the different ideas and like different cultures of the island.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah. Black Maria is Yamato's mother.
No shot. It's
This is
physically
no
impossible.
shot. I'm not sure where we learned Black Mario's age from. It may have been a data book. It may have been the SBS. But from what I'm aware, she's 29 and Yamato is 28. So like that's like literally impossible.
Yeah, that's it.
I think
People
she
just
was the
thought it
most
because,
popular candidate when we first learned of Yamato, just because big lady with horns who hangs around Kaido,
well, to be
suspicious.
specific, Yamato and Black Maria's horns do look borderline identical. It's like I'll give him that.
Yeah, that is true. But like again, like it kind of seems to be. I think the implication that a lot of the horns and the Beast Pirates wear are fake, because when Kinemon made them all outfits and disguises, like a lot
They
of them
gained
end up getting
horns.
a lot of them end up getting fake horns. So like if those are just like hair ornaments that like she has, that's possible.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, dude, this is a fun one. Read it for me.
I mean, I guess the odds aren't zero. Actually, no, put that in cool, but why?
Say it out loud for the audience.
Planetary power creep.
Where do we put planetary?
That's cool, but why? That's cool, but why? Because no One Piece character has scaled anywhere near that high. People just
will
want it.
argue. People will argue like, oh, they said Whitebeard can destroy the world, therefore he's planetary, and then like anyone who's clashed with him is also planetary because they're like they're comparable to him.
Even though destroy the world, especially if you translate it to just end the Sekai, can be interpreted so many fucking
It
ways.
can literally be interpreted as destroying society, destroying the planet, and destroying the whole universe and galaxy. Or I guess galaxy and universe, because the universe.
Or also, like maybe Sengoku just means he could topple the world government, and that would lead to chaos and thus destroy the world as they knew it.
Or he just means, guys, he's gonna fuck shit up. Stop him.
Yeah, what if he's just being hyperbolic to say we're fucked?
Yeah.
Uh, it's kind of like Puff. One of my favorite things is Naruto data books. There's one where it says like Tamari can blow away the galaxy. And people are
Dude, you know what's
you're
my
like,
favorite one? My favorite one is there's this old data book that like when it was translated, it said Kakashi was omnipotent.
no, I remember that. I remember that. Um, what's funny is minor Naruto data book thing. One of the funniest ones, Puff, that shows how unserious those were, is it said Rock Lee was a visitor to Konoha for the Chunin exams. Anyway, back to One Piece.
Honestly, I don't think One Piece will ever have to. I think if it does, it'll either be in one of two ways. One is like like a character creates a black hole or something, and then like like Luffy punches it away, and
So
then like
on technicality,
yeah. So on technicality, someone is scaled above planetary, and then so anyone
I
comparable to
mean,
them is
technically
also.
everyone is because they can all because light speed movement is technically above planetary.
Well, yeah, but like again, like because of the way we do fiction, like speed, like you could be light speed and still be like house
Yeah,
level
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever the fuck. So like again, like ignoring that, like so like either it'll just be like on a technicality that like we give the characters planetary AP because they can punch away black holes or whatever, or this is probably the more likely one. Emu like through so like when we're in the end game can gain some ability that lets them control like like the ocean or vast parts of the world, and then like use that to like threaten like the like he can't destroy the planet, but he can like life wipe it,
Or it'd
and
be
like
cool if, like, I
maybe
don't
there's
know,
some feat in there that'll put him in planetary
kind
levels.
of like in a Fire Force esque thing. Eam turns the world to darkness, and then Luffy, to like counteract that, turns it into like um Toonland. Like, I'm
Yeah.
literally imagining like Kaiba versus Pegasus. Like, that's all I'm thinking of. Behold my edgy demons. No, they've turned cute. Damn you!
Yeah, like, I don't
And it's
think we're
like
ever
the
gonna
whole world.
I don't think we're ever gonna get a scene where like literally Emu like flies up into the air saying, "I'm gonna destroy this whole planet with my Gallic gun attack. Let's see if you can stop me, Luffy." I don't think we're ever gonna get that.
No, that'd be funny though.
We
Yeah.
might
So,
get we might get a character blowing up the moon or something at some point. Like that seems kind of possible, but like
oh,
who
and Puff, let's
knows?
be honest here. The other reason people want it is because people are really upset that the other big three clear One Piece.
Oh no, they do. It's unfortunate, but they do.
Like, people have the gall to say base base Luffy during Wano or Baryon mode Naruto as a serious question. They have the gall to ask that.
I think like to be like absolutely fair, I think One Piece may like have better speed feats than Naruto.
I think
I'm
it
not sure
does,
about
but
Bleach because Bleach is fucking weird when you really get into the
Bleach
weeds
is
of it.
fucking. I mean, technically Rukia killed the guy that dodged light. So, like, what do we know?
And it's just like again like or like Ukuyur broke like a pocket dimension, which is technically fourth dimensional when you think about it in literal terms. It's like okay, was that the
But
intention
basically,
though?
One Piece is generally scaled as the weakest of the big three verses, and a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah. Like, it might be the fastest, possibly, because again, like it's just like a concept of like Kizaru being there. So like we have earlier light speed feats to pull from than like Naruto, which was like started doing light speed late into the game. So like we have like that's the one edge I think One Piece fans have, so they really run with it. But anyway, who knows if we'll get Planetary Paki. But next, Luffy is part Shandian. Hello.
Uh, okay. So there's a terrible version of this one.
There is now. Is it possible, like, if you really want to run with the dragon's tattoos or like Kalgura's
And
pants design, then
Garp had the same weapon as Kagura.
I think Garp's dog cat is actually probably the best piece of evidence, just because like that is kind of a fun similarity.
And the weapon, I think the weapon is also neat because it's such a specific, weird one.
Yeah.
But okay, basically, we gotta clarify. Most of the people who like this theory make it terrible because they use it as a jumping off point to say that Luffy is the descendant of Kalgura, and that's why he was able to ring the bell because Kalgura said, "You need to be from here to ring the bell," which is stupid.
Wiper said that.
Well, I said Kalgura, I meant Wiper. My bad.
Yeah. But like Robin's response immediately after is, "Oh, but he's doing it for cricket," which is like Mont Blanc, Nolan's descendant, and then he goes, "Oh." he's doing this for the same reason I am. Yeah, you know, like as long as the bell gets rung and we help Cricket, like that's the important part, because that was part of Culger's will, is so you know, try to get his friend to hear where the bell was and like where they went.
Yeah.
So like, you know, he
Also just
doesn't
a
need to be
misunderstanding of One
he
Piece
doesn't
that
need
like
to be directly related to Noland or Culger in order to inherit their will,
just like he had nothing to do with Dressrosa or Alabasta
or
or any
Wano.
island, because Luffy's just a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Like
like
you
technically,
have
I
that
think
like the one I always bring up is Nami screaming at Luffy during Arlong Park, and she screams, "You have nothing to do with this."
he
Um,
doesn't.
so basically, the idea that like Puff, what I said is, if Luffy has to be a descendant from any race, Shandian is like I would say top three guesses.
Yeah, you know, like I guess like top three is like what, but like Shandy and Buccaneer and what else?
Human.
Well, if that's the case, then you know, humans number one, and then like Shandian's number two, and then like you know everything else is number three.
Well, Buccaneers number three, because like I don't know, because like, Buccaneers like maybe because they're kind of weird.
They like Nika a lot, so I guess there's something. There's a tiny little
Yeah,
thread
I think
there.
Luffy's probably just going to be a human without any special bloodline outside of being a D.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I hate this one. Nika Fruit is responsible for all the gags in cartoon logic.
That's so stupid.
There are some people that legitimately believe that you need to be within 100 feet of the Nika fruit in order for like a comedy cartoon gag to happen. Like you can't make a super funny face that
Makes
stretches
the
your
story worse.
features too
This is
much.
done by power scalers who want to explain every gag through Toon Force.
They do like, oh dude, when Luffy and Brook drank that milk and it healed their teeth, that doesn't make sense. It must have been the Nika fruit. And it's like, shut up, you joyless fucking bastard.
Especially because he wasn't awakened yet, so it was just a rubber fruit. uh,
I
just
hate it.
boring, not
I
fun.
okay, Best Guyver is like a goofy gabster, but like the best joke that him and his chat ever made was in the rewrite for chapter 1 they did, where at the end they give everyone Nika hair because, oh, we spent like 10 years close to the Nika fruit, so it's AoE affected us and now we have permanent gag powers.
That part is
And the Nika fruit gag power will spread across the globe.
clarify. That's the only good part, because otherwise, that comic, a lot of those jokes are
No,
really
I
fucking.
love the joke where like it literally just cuts to a panel of a midget Zoro getting stomped on by Sanji. I think that's hilarious.
No, but like generally, there's a lot of stupid jokes in that comic.
There is.
Eve is a woman. Time. I'm gonna say unlikely, and I'm gonna explain why. Um, it's kind of just like understanding One Piece, where it's like, guys, we all agree that Ian probably isn't a fishman or a buccaneer or a Lunarian, because it would be weird for him to be the
A
races that
minority
he is
that he is oppressing.
outright persecuting. And while it's not outright stated to the same degree, notably, the Kuja are isolationist, and they say it's to protect them, and they are famously an island of women. And the Okama are tied to the revolutionaries, which kind of shows that even though it's not outright stated, the subtext is that. Well, also, it's not even subtext because, they take fucking sex slaves. But, like,
Yeah.
also, on top of that, the subtext is that women and Okama are also heavily persecuted by the world government. And I kind of assume that Eam, as the god king of evil fascism supremacy himself, probably isn't going to be any of those things.
Yeah, he's probably a white man. He's probably a
Yeah,
white guy. I hate to say it, but I think we gotta take the L, guys. I think the fascist dictator in the story might be a white guy.
shocking, baffling, I know. um just like that's one that makes the most sense, and like the point, and like Eam taking over Eam taking over Gunko doesn't prove anything. We don't know why he did that. And I even call him he instinctively. um, we don't know why Eam did that. For all we know, it could be because Eam thought that Gunko looked like Lily, and Eam is a petty fucking bitch.
Yeah. Okay, I think like another reason, like this isn't like real evidence or anything, but like it's just the vibes. Like, you know, the vast majority of battle shonen, their villains are male most time, especially the final villains. Like the only exception I could think of is not even a real exception, which is Kaguya, because Kaguya was the second final villain. Sasuke was the real final villain of Naruto.
Yeah, which
So
people always forget is that the final
so it's like,
villain was
again,
Sasuke.
very minuscule amount it's mostly boys because you know they're writing for a mainly male demographic, yada yada stuff like that. So like if I had to like guess, I would guess that Emu's a man. I would not bank on the woman one. It seems less
No.
likely to me. Like it's not
Yeah, just
impossible. It'd be very easy to make it that, but like you
oh,
know
no,
just
just like it's not impossible that he's a minority. There are ways that could happen, but the most obvious answer is that he's just a representation of all of the most leading uh in control groups. Because that just
yeah,
makes
and
the
you
most
know like
sense.
so far all the Gorsei that have worked directly under him have all just been like you know normal human males, not minorities, not like not women. So you know if they're gonna like you know not like it's an explicit part of the story, but just like imply a patriarchal structure because you know all the Gorsei and the top guy are like guys like that's be perfectly suitable.
Like it ties into the already existing subtext.
Yeah. Sorry guys, One Piece is a anti-male feminist
Political
manga.
and woke. No.
Okay. True History is on Laugh Tale,
I'd be
which
kind of shocked if it was
I
if it
would be
wasn't.
really shocked if this wasn't true. I think this is one thing that we literally do all take for granted just because it seems like well like how could it not be? How
Yeah,
do we
like it'd be
not
kind
get that there?
it's like the story Roger was reading had nothing to do with the true history. It was just Joy Boy being like, "So here's the time I ate 50 cantaloupes and threw up." And Roger's like, "That's the funniest shit I've ever heard."
50 cantaloupes. Man, you eat 43 if you're feeling crazy, but 50? Whoa.
Just like for all we know, it's just something stupid like
Oh, that reminds me. This is another thing I probably should have put because I think it's a dumb theory. People who think Roger was like crying and laughing out of despair and not because he thought it was a fun story. Because like
I feel
you're
like
just
you
not
are
reading your fate.
admitting that you don't understand human emotions if you
No,
say
I
that.
think the people who want that is like we want dark peace. We want dark peace. We want dark peace. Give us dark
And
peace. Please give us dark peace.
you're ignoring that Oda drew one of the most joyful faces I've ever seen in my
Like it's
life.
such like a warm panel where it just seems to be like pure like joy and like you know like good vibes coming off of it. Like
Like,
I don't
if it's
get
revealed that he's laughing at a tragedy, Roger is now a fucking lunatic.
and not just him, the whole crew.
Yeah, they're all evil because, like, again, it's not like a laughing through the pain. They are like, they're laughing like they heard the funniest joke of all time.
Yeah. Like they look exactly like the crew did as they were singing Bing Sake at the end of Thriller Bark.
Yeah.
uh
Hey, look,
oh, this is my hill to die on. This is
honestly,
my
you
hill
kind
to
of
die
forced it
on.
in because this is not a theory. This is an
This is a
interpretation.
wrong reading, is what it is. I call it a theory because it's not true, and anyone who thinks it's true is just saying a theory that's untrue. It's not even a theory. It's like an interpretation of it. If you think if you think
Fuck,
Katakuri
you
let
didn't
Luffy
say it. What
win,
is it?
if you think Katakuri let Luffy win, you don't know how to read. Okay. All right. So do you know like what happened leading up to the fight when with Flampe? What happened?
Yeah. So Katakuri was like, "Whoa, this Luffy guy is like really impressive, and he's kind of making me question some of my own values." Whoa! And then right after that, Flampe shows up. Katakuri gets a free blast to the gut and then some free punches. And he's like, "Wait a minute, Flampe, you fuck!" And then they knock her out, and then he stabs himself. Not the order of events. But then after all that, Luffy's like, Luffy and Katakuri are like, "Let's have a fair fight."
Yeah, I know, like literally, like in Katakuri's internal monologue, he says he doesn't want to win this way. He doesn't want the win handed to him, and he certainly understands that Luffy feels the exact same way because Luffy like didn't take Brule in as a hostage to try and fight Katakuri. He left her behind and just said like, "Hey, I'm back in here. We're both stuck in here again." So you know, it's just you and me, pal. So literally, he could have ran away. He says he could have like you know prolonged the fight to try and drain his observation haki or whatever. But he said no. I want to beat the 1 billion berry man at his best. So like that's what Luffy wants. That's also what Katakuri wants. Katakuri went
Yeah, like
out
they
took
like there's literally the line of
Katakuri
them.
took steps to make the fight fair. So what? He's gonna throw it? Like then why make the fight fair at all? Why not just give Luffy the win right then and there? Like why do
Yeah,
this?
why not after he stabs himself, like fucking falls over?
I know. And
Like, why
also like
stab himself at all? That seems like pretty drastic if you're
and
then gonna throw the fight later.
and again, like when he's like, when he actually passes out for the last time, like when Luffy crawls out of the hole and like he says like, are you gonna come back? And he says, yeah, I'm gonna be king of the pirates. And he says, you're looking pretty far into the future. He splurts up blood and then falls over. So it's like, what is he acting? Did he bite his own tongue to make it look convincing
No,
when he
no, he
falls
already
over?
had blood in his mouth. He was waiting for the right moment to spit it.
And this is
Um,
another point of evidence that proves people don't know how to read. When Flampe says like, "Oh, you fell on your back. Why'd you do that?" It's because Katakuri was going to fall forward, but then like we see him like put his foot down to stop himself, and then like he spurts blood, falls backward.
Yeah,
So like,
that's why the scene's so beautiful. Katakuri's falling forward. It's like, oh shit, Luffy won, and then he catches himself. It's like, oh fuck, Luffy didn't win. But then he falls on his back. It's like Luffy did win. Let's go.
and then like also again like a huge part of Katakuri's character is never showing anyone see him on his back. Like
Physical weakness.
they specifically say lying on his back has never touched the ground. So like him being like, okay, I've lost. I'm not the perfect man that I tried to convince everyone I was. So like him literally falling on his back and showing that to Luffy, like is literally like that's the cherry on top for you winning. Like I'm not
And the
gonna try and
fact that
keep the persona up
he
anymore.
passes, like he makes, like he knows he's gonna pass out and he lands on his back, means he's also showing vulnerability to whoever finds him, which is guaranteed gonna be one of his family members.
Yeah. Like,
So he's doing this knowing he's going to show vulnerability to one of the people he's been pretending to be a badass in front of.
like I think the literally Katakuri losing the fight genuinely is only inconsistent with people's discomfort. With not
Yeah.
like I didn't want Luffy to win, or I don't like the way Luffy won, or he got an underdog victory and that was bullshit. uh, all right. Everyone with fire powers is a descendant of Lunarians.
No shot.
Does this make the story worse? Because like it just kind of
No.
takes some. It takes
No, I
some.
don't think it makes the story worse because like you can finagle it, but it's so fucking
Well, like, yeah,
goofy.
you can finagle it, but like I feel like it just takes whimsy out of the setting to learn that oh, Pearl doesn't like have fire powers because of his emotions, and when he gets upset and scared, he just summons fire. It's like oh no, it's because he's part Lunarian actually. Okay.
No, I think it's fine to put it in no shot because it's just
Okay.
like, guys, the way everyone summons fire. One, none of them have fucking wings or a speed form or a tanky form, so why'd
Or
they only
dark
get the fire?
skin, or black wings, or silver
And two,
hair.
like this is kind of just like the point that we always bring up, which is everyone can make fire. Luffy could make fire before he awakened his fruit, so it wasn't Nika powers. Sanji can make fire because he has strong emotions, not because he's a fucking Germa, you dumbass. Zoro made fire when fighting Ryuma because he felt like it. Kinemon can make fire with Foxfire style, not just cut it, he can straight up generate it. He cauterized Kiku's wound.
Yep.
Zoro can copy Foxfire now, so he can also just materialize fire whenever he wants to. Katakuri just lit his Mochi hand on
Yeah, I
fire
know.
for no
He literally
fucking
like
reason.
does like a rocket punch with a fire hand. Like how did he do that? How does Mochi Mitsu do that? It doesn't. People just have fire powers when they want.
Yeah, and like I love how people always say that Red Hawk is momentum for friction. When the first time Luffy does it, he is underwater.
No, no, dude, it was friction against the air bubble. It was friction against the bubble. It was a really
But
fictitious
what lit
bubble.
on fire was his hand in the water. So stupid.
It was friction against the water, man. Trust me.
When like
Trust me.
guys, very clearly the canon reason, like as in like literally this is more canon, is that you could summon fire if you have strong emotions. Like that's just a thing you can do.
That is pretty
Sanji does it.
consistent.
The Fire Fist is named after Ace. That's a strong emotion. Fuck you. Pearl did it out of
from East
fear.
Blue. Yeah. Yeah, it does seems to most commonly like when a firepower isn't given an explanation, it seems to most commonly come from strong emotions.
And like obviously that's like our joke explanation. The real explanation for everyone besides Sanji, who is emotions, is fuck you, it's fun.
It is fun. All right. Oh boy, we got another Randy Troy theory here.
Now, Puff, in his defense, he has walked this back. He doesn't propose this exact theory anymore.
Everyone can use Gear 5 if they feel totally free.
So, guys, Randy Troy now believes or at least talks about the more basic one, which is maybe Gear 5 lets you give other people Gear 5, like Karama Cloak shit. Which is possible, But what Randy Troy brought up at one point, and I remember because it blew my mind, is he said anyone can become Nika by just Nikaing really hard. That's why Sulong is kind of like Nika. That's why the pills are kind of like Nika. It's just everyone can just Nika themselves by
Yeah,
just
dude,
being the
white
freest
hair and red
boy.
eyes. Yeah, baby. White hair, red
I guess
eyes.
Roger wasn't free enough. What a
You
fucking
know, that the
bitch.
thing is, like, that's the big hole. Like, if you really want to take this thing seriously, like, let's forget about the fact that, like, everyone having a Gear 5 form would, like, just, like, downgrade the significance of Luffy's fruit and any, like, unique symbolism it would give him by a huge margin, and make everyone else, make battles more boring in general by giving everyone the same abilities. Let's put that aside. How did Roger, the king of the pirates, the man who was the most free, never use it, or like was never shown using it, or like never like hinted at that he could ever use it? Like, maybe we learned in a flashback, oh, he used it against rocks in God Valley, but it's like, well, it's like, well, like, you know, like
In that case, I would once again propose the question that always gets brought up whenever it comes to a secret about Luffy's fruit in God Valley, which is Kaido should remember. Kaido's
no,
like,
no, no.
hey, yo,
Kaido
what
got
the
knocked
fuck?
out.
I remember Roger doing that when he killed my boss.
Kaido got knocked out by what's the name of Garper's aide with the sword, Bogard.
Yeah, he got knocked out by
Yeah, he
Bogard.
got knocked out by Bogart, so he wasn't there for that. He wasn't there
What
for
a
that.
fucking shame.
All right. Moria pulls a Kabuto Edo Tensei in the final war.
That'd be so fucking
All right,
awesome.
is this I would kill for this, or do you want to like really rank it?
No, I'd kill for this. I'd kill for this. Oh,
This is really cool.
because it. And Puff, the joke I made to you is using Kabuto specifically also implies he's going to become a high tier.
Yeah, man, he just like gets his, you know, he hits the gym, he gets his old bod back, and then Shadows
He's able to
Asgard,
use Shadows Asgard fuck. What? How many shadows was Shadows Asgard?
1,000, I think.
Fuck it. He can do 1,000,000 now. Fuck you.
He goes to 10,000, plus he has his old young ripped body again because he went back to the gym. So it's like, I can maintain this form actually. Behold, island level punch times 20. See, it's times 10 because I have 10 times the amount of shadows, but it's an extra 2 because I'm fit now.
um, and just like, you know, it's kind of just like the whole thing of like, I'm sorry, the trope of bringing back all the dead characters and forcing people to fight the ones that are relevant to them is innately fun.
It is a really fire trope in a lot
That's
of
why
different
Game of
media.
Thrones season 8 fucking sucks because they had a zombie army and forgot to do the have people fight the dead people they know
Oh no, they
part.
don't capitalize on it at all, which is insane. Because it's like,
They don't even
wow,
have zombie Hodor. What are we doing?
dude, fucking Fire Emblem Engage capsized on that more, and that's not a great story. Like, it's fine, but like it capsized on that more than the final season of Game of
Capitalized,
Thrones.
not capsized, you goober.
It capitalized on that better than the final season of Game of Thrones, and that's like
No,
honestly,
Game of Thrones capsized.
yeah, Game of Thrones capsized on it. So
um just like I don't think there's any chance of this really happening. Like maybe the Shadow Fruit will bring back like a handful of interesting dead characters, like Whitebeard maybe. But generally no. Like
like
Whitebeard or
the
Rocks.
thing is like it'd be like a little different than the Edo Tensei, because Edo Tensei brought back their souls and personalities, so like they could actually talk with the other characters, whereas like in this case, like these they would just be the moving bodies, they wouldn't have memories, but still a character like, I don't know, like fighting Whitebeard, like if Mark wanted to fight Whitebeard's dead body, it's like, oh, I could have a moment about this and have emotions about this, that could still work.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Also just like obviously something's going to happen with the Shadow Fruit. It's not going to be this. More likely, what a lot of people pointed out is they're probably going to use Garp's shadow with insert corpse here. Maybe Rocks, maybe Whitebeard, maybe Blackbeard just absorbs Garp's shadow himself.
Well, then again, like Moria may have escaped with Perona, possibly. We don't
That'd
know
be
what happened
awesome.
with him.
But you know, like something obviously something's going to happen because like they brought him back
Yeah,
for
they
a
did bring
reason.
him back. It should be for a reason.
And like he's brought up consistently. Like Perona brought up trying to free him during the raid on Beehives. Like they keep bringing him up.
Yeah.
Like we should be thinking about what he might do.
Oh, okay. So we just have the image ones left. So, dude, do you remember the color of hockey and golden hockey?
That was that animation. But if I remember, I'm like, this looks so nice, even though none
Dude,
of this is gonna happen.
would you kill someone to have golden hockey be canon?
No.
I know. It's so bad. It's like, what? You know, I'm gonna put this in cool, but why?
No, it's such like Dragon Ball Super shit where it's like, dude, we need more colors. We don't have
We
enough
need more
colors.
colors. Dude, when you get
Just funny
really
because
good
like
with Conquerors Infusion, it just becomes gold.
I kind of like what hockey already does, which is where like hockey already has like a slight tint to it. Like Luffy's is a little red and Katakuri's was a little blue.
Yeah.
Like I think that's fun enough as is. Also, just like turning it gold is kind of boring because the whole point is that like it's a black and white manga, and the juxtaposition is them turning their fists black. Them turning their fists white means it's just their fist.
Yeah. Like maybe there's a certain way you could shade it to make it
No, you
distinct,
could
but
like make
like
it metallic or something, but I feel like the metallic sheen on armament works better because it's also turning their fist pitch black, which looks weird.
yeah. Like it would be a lot more clear like when someone's using armored hockey when it's pitch black as opposed to like if it was a weird like shade probably like maybe you can do it but like it doesn't seem very likely. Okay, then we got Buggy's family tree here, which I
Which we
literally
would
just
go for.
yeah, I would kill for this because I want Nola to be Buggy's mother. I want Nola to be Buggy's mother. I want that. I want that shit. That sounds awesome.
And if we're including that entire video, I want my theory to happen.
Dude.
Dude, have
The
you heard of the
Oars
full
Buggy parallels are so
lion?
real.
Did you know that Orz's death is a or Orz's death is to Buggy what Ace's death was to Luffy? Did you know that? I go watch Puff's April Fool's video on his main channel. A lot of good things happen in that video.
Dude, I like it is kind of the whole like, oh, what is evil Puff have to be so successful thing eating at me again? Because like the first the part one for this already has more views than my Skypiea video, I think.
Fuck! Your Skypiea video's good.
It is good. And, like I get like
Anyway,
like I get like it seems that like evil Puff just seems to be what people want more, and I understand. I have fun doing this. I could see why they have fun with it too.
it's definitely easier for us to do. Holy
Oh no,
shit.
like that. Like the thing is, like there might be a point where like I'm like I can't do main channel anymore. I won't have time for it. But like I could always do this. This takes no fucking work. Like what?
This is fucking easy.
Yeah. Like worst case scenario, it's like okay, I take video game footage. I put some images over for context, and then like it takes me like an hour maybe to do like the longest it ever took me was like an hour for an Evil Puff video, and then like maybe another hour for it to export depending on how long it was.
Right.
Yeah. So
So
again,
how
that's
much
it.
time do we have how long have we been recording?
We've been recording for an hour and a half.
Fuck it. What's do you think we could do the comments or do you think that would take too long?
It takes too long, and also this one's gonna get comments too. So like I guess
Also,
we could
milking is
milking.
fun. Milking.
Woohoo!
What's funny is it's not even milking for views. It's milking in the sense that a lot of people who are new to the channel don't know this. We're so fucking bad at coming up with video ideas.
Yeah, we kind of are.
Yeah, but we're so bad at it. Like Puff, there have been several days where we're like, well, we don't want to do that tier list, and there aren't enough bad One Piece opinions.
Hmm. Like I think we need to
Yeah,
find. I think we need to find a new series to like binge read and then do a good
you and
opinion
I
on.
need to read something.
Yeah.
Or we need to do like another compilation. Like maybe we do like sports anime opinions.
Yeah, maybe. Um.
I mean we can do rom-com once Rent a Girlfriend ends.
Oh yeah.
That'll
Dude,
be
people
spicy.
lied about the ending happening last week. It didn't
They
end
could
last
just
week.
lie.
They just
Because
lied and said it did.
yeah, because I read it before you and I wasn't caught up. And cause I was kind of like Rent a Girlfriend isn't a very fun manga for me to read weekly. I prefer binging it. So I let it build up. When I saw it ended, I was like, "Oh, it ended." And I'm like, "Hey, yo, Puff, what are your thoughts on this?" And then you're like, "What do you mean it ended?" And I was like, "Huh?"
Yeah, yeah. When I saw like wait, it ended like I don't remember seeing it at the end in the last chapter, and like the last page implied that like there was something unresolved and they were gonna continue. Like what? Also, like, isn't there still like some character arcs left unresolved? Like, did he get axed? I don't think so. Like, what happened?
That would make
And then
sense for how
everyone's
long it
literally
is.
just lying about the ending and being like, "Oh, dude, it's actually so subversive and cool that he got rejected." It's like, dude, we're coming back next week, aren't we?
That or the misogynists came out of the woodwork.
Dude, bad rent-a-girlfriend opinions. We got to do it. We have at least 3 really juicy ones.
What's funny is so many bad rent-a-girlfriend opinions are just going to be us yelling. Weebs are so misogynistic that they'll look at a series where the joke is the main character is a fucking loser, insecure, virgin fuckhead,
That will
and they'll
still
still be
get the
like, "No,
girl.
I know."
Literally, he's still gonna get the girl. Like, literally, the last chapter that came out implies that the shit's not over. Shit's not over at all.
Because what's funny is I think people like don't know because they don't read much Rent-a-Girlfriend. Cause rental dates went downhill a lot as the series went on because he just became her friend.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, we haven't had one in like I think like over 100 chapters. Because again, like we've just went through
Have they
Marineford
had one
War.
since they moved in together?
I don't think so.
Okay, so yeah, there you
So if we spoiled Rent a Girlfriend for you at the end of this One
go.
Piece video.
um, just yeah. What's funny about this is we don't even think it's peak. We just think it's interesting and fun to talk about.
Yeah, you know, it is. Like, it is kind of a provocative manga in that case where it brings out a lot. Like, it brings out the misogynists, it brings out the feminist theorists, it brings out
It brings a lot out of people.
yeah.
It brings the best and the worst out of everyone.
Yeah, dude, I remember, like, this was when, like, you know, AI was, like, first taking off, and it's like, okay, we found the final boss of AI discourse. The Rent-a-Girlfriend author used their own artwork to make an AI image. Now, this is good.
Not even in weekly production, just like one for
I know.
fun.
It's like now, like, this is their own artist using their own work. That's ethical. That's cool and good. It's AI, which is a little cringe, but again, they're only using theirs, which is cool, good, and ethical.
I
But
mean,
it's
maybe,
the
I don't know,
but
maybe-
it's the Rent a
maybe
Girlfriend
a
author,
bot
man.
at-
But it's the Rent a Girlfriend author, man. So like, there was a huge
Also, Puff, not
shitstorm
to come
about it.
across as stupid, we don't know that much about AI learning models. For all we know, even if you only import your work, it still might steal from other sources to function. I don't know how AI learning models work. That's entirely
Oh
possible.
yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. So
Uh,
I guess like bad rom-coms like soon-ish, like in a month when Rent a Girlfriend ends,
yeah, like a
because
month maybe.
it seems it's coming to an end fairly soon. I
And
think,
then we're gonna have to list more rom-coms to talk about.
dude, it would be so
I can
funny.
talk about fuck. What do I can talk about Fruits Basket a little more, but there's not much to say because like what you say about Fruits Basket is it's great if you ignore the age gaps and the light incest.
Dude, it would be so funny if Rent a Girlfriend still had another 100 chapters in it. Like, we're not even in the final arc yet.
Oh,
There's
dude,
still like
he starts making ads for his favorite party games again. Rent a Girlfriend is the best filler because the author is very clearly just like, I played this game and it was a lot of fun, and I got my editor to let me make an ad for it.
So again, I guess like I remember someone asked us to talk about Oshinoko a couple times. So I guess
I
maybe
need
you
to
can
read
read that in preparation for the next big rom-com video.
Sure, I'll do that. I mean, other thing I'm doing right now is my big Naruto project, Puff, where I'm rereading all of Naruto, watching all of Boruto. I'll read all of Boruto after I watch it, and I'm also watching a lot of the Naruto anime just to see what changes they make. So I'm doing that.
Yeah. Uh, I was wondering, like, maybe if you'd want to do like a Magi read through with me, like we both read
Oh,
and
I'd
do a
love
thing
to.
about.
I like
Because like
manga.
things, I'm making an Orient video. It'll be out like I don't know when. I've been making really slow progress on it, but like I'm making that, and as I'm reading, I'm like, man, I want to read Magi again because Magi's so cool and good.
Manga is very good.
And like I was
Puff,
planning to make like a
is,
main channel video for it back in the day about like Alibaba and Sinbad because they're really super cool and good and I love their dynamic. But like, you know, it got deleted in my notes app when my phone broke like 3 years ago
Oh,
and
how
I
sad.
never went back to do it.
No, Puff, do you know what is my funny Magi thing?
What?
I assumed the author was a woman because even though there's a lot of like big titty fan service, all of the men were so beautiful. I assumed it was drawn by a
Oh,
woman.
dude.
And I was just wrong.
Sinbad's like the hottest man on the planet.
No, quite literally, I saw Sinbad and I was like, a woman drew this, right? And I was wrong. I am a
Dude,
fool.
I fucking love how like when you first meet Sinbad, he's like buck naked, and
He's
yet when
podcast naked in the woods.
and then like literally the next scene you see him when he's clothed, it's like the way he's like drawn like 2000% more sexy as soon as he gets a pair of clothes on. Like he's lying on his side, he's got like the arm on the he's lying
Like,
there. He looks
they're
like a
all
fucking
drawn,
prince.
like, like so many men in Magi are drawn like sexy shoujo boys, or like they're like it's like the female gaze joke of like, oh, this is drawn specifically to make women horny. And what I always think of is what's the dark Magi called?
Judar.
Judar. Judar feels like he's one of those.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. He's
He's like
such
if
a
a
fucking
Tumblr.
goth little twink boy.
No, he's a Tumblr sexy man combined with like a jacked goth man.
I guess
Like
he's not
this
a twink. I think
shredded
he might.
little pretty boy twink with
Yeah,
so much
I don't.
eggs.
I guess he's not a twink, but he is a pretty boy, definitely.
He's, like, leaning on twink is like he's really muscular, but he's not big.
That is true. I guess he
All
just
right,
seems bigger than he actually is because he hangs. Because like again, like his main rival's Aladdin, who's a fucking
who's
midget.
a fucking child. All
uh,
right, okay, well that was enough non One Piece talk. We're gonna go talk to our friend that we abandoned.
yep. Good night, everyone.